You have to be very customizable in e-commerce. That's a direct quote from today's guest, Prakhar from FoxSell Bundles. Despite this, he entered an app category that has 263 different apps and counting. Every e-commerce team knows that bundles can increase all the key metrics: AOV, retention, loyalty, inventory movement. But they probably also have battle wounds from the logistical challenges that bundles can cause behind the scenes. Prakhar is a Bible of knowledge on the topic of bundles, so he was the perfect guest for this topic. Whether you're an e-commerce manager, developer, or business owner, his insights will give you lots to think about. In this show, we talk everything bundles, not just what FoxSell can do, but the different opportunities Shopify stores have available to them now and what AI means for what's possible in the future. Please check out our other episodes where we cover things like search, point of sale, order editing, and lots more topics to come. You can check out those episodes wherever you're listening to this one, and please hit the like, share, and subscribe buttons. All right, LFG, Prakhar from FoxSell. We're going to talk about bundles today. What made you get into the bundle space in Shopify? Because I had a look this morning. I was just trying to see how many bundle apps there are in the App Store. There's something like, I think it said 263 on the main bundle category.
Yeah, I think it's really important when you're entering a particular category, even though it's like very crowded. So for example, bundle is like one of the most crowded category in the Shopify App Store. But what made us jump into that category, even though it was very crowded, was Shopify releasing the native bundling technology, which is the cart transform function and the native bundling APIs. So that's where we thought it's going to be a good time to be in the App Store, just focusing on the native technologies, because a lot of the apps back then was doing things using discounts, and we thought it would be slightly harder for them to migrate all of their merchant base to the newer technology, and that's where we come in. So that was the idea when we started, and then our value proposition became like completely different once we started building out the app, and that's how we decided to enter the bundle category.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, your timing was pretty good. And I feel like I say this about a lot of the app developers I talk to. Like, I feel bad almost for the people who've gone and built this stuff sort of 5-10 years ago, when you had to be very innovative and do some things that look pretty cowboy now when you look at what you had to do to build bundles out on the previous iterations of the platform. But yeah, so to get to where you are today, you've obviously gone all in on working with things like the cart transform API, which very sexy sounding API. You've Shopify functions, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so sort of where did you start, and how is it how's it sort of evolved to get to where you are today?
So do you want me to start with my journey in the Shopify ecosystem from push-out days, or do you want me to start my journey with
Look, I'd love
FoxSell
to
and how
touch
the
a little
product?
bit on. Yeah, I'd love to maybe hear a little bit about the push hour days. Like that was, when did you start push hour? That was.
So I was leading the engineering team at Push-Owl. I joined in 2020. Shashank was the founder of Push-Owl. He started it in 2017. And it was like a completely different era, to be very honest. Building Push-Owl and building FoxSell are like completely different spaces, to be very honest. A lot of people think building that early, it was a lot of less competition at the App Store, but that is only the half truth. There was less merchants in Shopify, and there was not a lot of native tooling when it comes to building Shopify apps. So you had to build Shopify app like a complete tech company, like a complete SaaS company. You had to have like a super scalable infrastructure, webhook handling, queue management. You even had to have your own CDN if you're serving anything on the storefront. And it was like a completely different ballgame. Now with FoxSell, with Shopify launching so much native tooling with meta fields, meta objects, Shopify functions, it's way easier to build a very reliable solution, and you can do it in an indie project way because the expenses are super low and barrier to entry becomes low. So now the major challenge is, how do you stand out? What is your value proposition? How are you different from the infinite apps or infinite competition in your category? So it's like a completely different game now altogether. So it's like completely different.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, let's go into it. So, tell us. So, what is in a simple, what is the value proposition that makes FoxSell better? We're not a product demo show, but yeah, tell us how you do stand out.
No, I think from day one, we've tried to build it in a way where we have tried to build a very strong and reliable base bundling engine and not very rigid templates. So essentially, when we started, we always thought about how we can provide more values and what are the problems that people are facing. So what we realized was the major problem is that a lot of agencies and app developers are actually fighting the app UIs in order to make it make sense for their brand specifically. So what we thought we can provide is a very reliable bundling engine, a base engine where you can set up your rules, you can set up we'll manage your inventory, we'll handling the discount for bundling while giving the complete freedom and control to the agencies and developers. So our value proposition is not a merchant first, but it's more of a developer and an agency first value proposition. So we give you a lot of tools, we give you a lot of freedom to build a very customizable storefront experience because we realize that one size does not fit all in e-commerce industry. So you need to be very customizable. And that's how we have approached it very differently from day one. Instead of creating like rigid templates, we are focused on building like a foundational layer that's like extremely reliable. So that's how we are thinking about it.
Yeah, and like I have so much respect for the way you've built that because it does, yeah. As someone with agency background and who works with lots of different people, that is the big challenge and the bit you talk about against sort of fighting against the app interface. That's something I'm very familiar with and having experienced that a lot across the journey. But yeah, I feel like on the flip side, the difficult thing must be how you communicate what you've got, what your product is, and how to use it. Because at least when you've got a more rigid, I guess, interface, and people go in and they've got two or three options, I guess it's a bit easier for them to get started. So yeah, so how do you manage the onboarding of people and helping them to I guess follow through and actually end up with a finished product of great bundle solutions?
Yeah, actually, that's a great question because you have to consider like a lot of things when you're building apps, like what way you want to go, what direction you want to go in. So when we were starting out, we were a very small team. So going in a way where you get a lot of volume of merchants from the app store, so having a lower priced app, having a free plan, those kind of stuff gets you more installs, but it also takes a lot of your time in supporting those merchants because they have a lot of questions. So we made a conscious decision initially to price ourselves a little higher and then we can focus more on the brands who actually can pay for the app or they are slightly bigger brands who are working with an agency. So that way our bandwidth goes into supporting them one-on-one and focusing on the product. So that way our support tickets reduce. So that was initially the route we took. And then what we also did was we started treating our agency's customer very separately to our merchant base. So we considered agencies as our extended part of the team as compared to like a customer. So we had a technical onboarding call with them. We create dedicated Slack channels with them. So help them created very dedicated partner documentation, very extensive one, so they know exactly what's happening. Of course, a thing we lose out on because it's not there on the app, it becomes slightly difficult unless we are in touch with them. But once we do get in touch with them, it becomes slightly easier. So that is the part that we are working on, basically improving ourselves for now that we have more bandwidth. But initially, we made a conscious decision to focus more on the agency side and developer side so that we can provide a better support experience to them and also have more bandwidth in order to build more features.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and it's something that I see is like it's one of those features where everyone has slightly different requirements when it comes to
Yeah.
building out bundles. So I'd actually love to spend some time hearing from you. Like you've obviously you've your logos on your website. There's lots of different industries that you're working with. Like obviously beauty's always been a big one. There's sort of food type products. I think you work with, I saw the Guinness logo on there. You've got some really interesting, diverse sort of users of your product. But what do you see, like what makes the best bundle offering on an e-commerce site? Like what actually what do you see that's common between them that makes them work well?
Yeah, actually, that is what we want to communicate. Like, there is no one bundle that works. It actually differs based on the category you're in, the kind of customer journey that you are targeting, the kind of customer experience that you're providing. It's like I said, one size does not fit all in e-commerce. So, like food and beverage, it's a completely different kind of bundle that works there. So, for example, for let's say a cookie brand, you want to sell more and more cookies in order to get your margins meet, right? So you want to have like a box of 20, box of 40, and you want to incentivize customers to buy that. Then in cosmetics, you have two types of bundles. Like you can either have like a tiered discount where you buy more and get more discounts, or you have like a step-by-step kind of a mix and match builder where, okay, you build your own skincare routine. So pick one moisturizer, pick one sunscreen, those kind of stuff. And then you have like a lot of personalization bundle where you create like a jersey and then you add your name to it. So now you are charging extra on that. So it actually it's completely different, and it's impossible for an app like us who literally knows nothing about a merchant's business to create all of these storefront experiences. And that's why we try to provide more toolings to the agencies and developers who actually know the business, right? Because they know what converts, how their customer functions, how they shop. Sometimes it feels counterintuitive to us that, okay, I don't think this makes sense, but they've been in industry for so long, they know exactly what makes sense. For fashion brands, it's like completely different. You want to buy a set. Nobody's buying like a bundle builder on fashion. Like sometimes they do, but it's like, I'm not going to buy like 5 t-shirts, 6 pants at one go in most cases, but I might buy what model is wearing in the photo. So it's like completely different use cases. And it's like giving them the ability to build all of them for different clients, for different segments. So that is the idea here.
Yeah, I think you sell yourself a little bit short when you say you don't understand the merchant's requirements. You've just articulated that you do understand them quite well. But I might maybe follow up that by asking about when someone's coming in new, like I think bundles can also be really overwhelming for a business to roll it out. I've seen lots of businesses where bundles should be part of their tech stack, like it's an absolute. Yeah, it seems like an absolute obvious way to drive greater order value, give customers different options, create a really good customer experience. But it just gets too hard. And so, I'd love to hear about if you've got any sort of ideas or things you suggest to people just to get them across the line and get them up and running with something. Because, I think that can be the biggest barrier once you just getting something up and running.
Yeah, actually, a lot of when you're like everybody wants bundles, and everybody thinks like it's a easy way to shoot up their AOV. But the problem is there are a lot of operational challenges that comes in once you start using bundles. So how do you track the inventory? How do you prevent double discounting on the bundles? Those kind of stuff just creeps into you once you start doing this. So it's very important to be wary of that kind of a stuff. And that is, I think, create a lot of hindrance. It's this slightly difficult to start with bundles very efficiently. So what we usually recommend to people is just go through your reports, figure out like what's good products that are selling together, and start with fixed bundles. Just start with like a preset combination of bundles and then see if that is working, if people actually do want to buy these products, right, as a set, and then basically do it step by step and then see what's working for them and what's not working for them, because it's very different based on like the industry they're in. So we usually just help them with the brands in the similar industry and what they are doing, and then help them achieve the same kind of a setup or help them achieve same kind of rules or configuration. So that is the best way to think about it, because e-commerce is an industry where a lot of people have solved a lot of things. So you might not always want to start from very scratch. So it's like if you just tell them, okay, this is the same industry in the cosmetic region, similar geography, they are trying this setup and that has worked out really well for them, maybe you can also try this one. So just taking inspiration from a lot of other websites and a lot of the brands in the same category really helps. And a lot of brands do come to us and they say, I want exactly what they are doing, because that seems to be working really well. And that is where they exactly know what they want, and we just help them achieve it.
Providing great support is one of the most important things about hosting a Shopify app. But as apps scale, they need to maintain that great support without drowning in support tickets. That's where the support heroes come in. They are the only team dedicated exclusively to Shopify app customer support. With specialised expert help, they've already supported over 100 apps, including some of the apps that we featured on this show. Let them handle the inbox so you can get back to building. And finally, enjoy some time off. Visit thesupportheroes.com today. There's a few brands that I've had come up all the time. Everyone wants to be in Australia anyway. Everyone wants to be Mecca, and but I think it's interesting though. Like I think the thing you sort of alluded to a little bit there, I think as well though, is that also a big part of it is the experimentation part of it as well, isn't it? And that's where, like I guess, particularly when it comes to like building out something like custom bundles, you've got the option to use an app like FoxSell, which you actually just use all the APIs that are available to any developer who wants to. But I think the benefit of using an app in this space is that, you can actually try different things and fine tune it and actually then build out something that you optimize over time, and it becomes a business's bundle offering that's theirs and is what works for them, not and doesn't keep them stuck to one particular path and one particular offering.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, that was more of
I'm just saying
that was more of a
I think
statement
we
than a
need
question.
to do more of experimentation and figure out what's working for you before you actually commit to a direction, and that makes sense.
Yeah, and I guess we've talked about sort of that first step of setting up bundles, but I guess the challenge that then comes after that is how you actually scale it. And so it's not just about it can be, if you do particularly start off from that area trying to get something up and running, perhaps there is some experimentation. You've worked with just your high volume best selling products, but what sort of challenges do you see people then going through when they want to actually grow that part of the business?
I think a lot of the challenges does come, like I mentioned, operationally. One is very big challenge where what goes into each bundle and how do you manage the inventory for these bundles. Those kind of challenges do come. One challenge is double discounting, where Cart Transform's discounting is complete separate discounting as compared to the discount code discounting. So how do you prevent double discounting on those kind of products? So those are another set of challenges that comes. And then I think a lot of the few challenges, like recently we faced with one of the brands, was they sold out too quickly. So now they had no second plan of what they want to sell as bundles. So one thing also a lot of brands do is, instead of just pushing their best sellers, they bundle the best sellers with slow moving products as well. So that way the inventory for slow moving products also gets exhausted. So to be honest, there are no single challenges that comes. It just depends on, it's very industry specific, to be very honest. How do you bundle it? Sometimes the challenges also with Cart Transform becomes, because what Shopify does is, once you place the order, it removes the bundle product and just has the individual SKUs in the product. So now the problem becomes, okay, what goes into packaging together? So those are the challenges that sometimes they face. So you have to have solutions around that. So those are the things that a lot of people face. Mostly it's on the operational side of things, but it's slightly challenging at first, because sometimes you have to change a little bit of your processes internally. But once you do that, it becomes like slightly easy to manage.
Yeah, that's it. And look, I think I could talk about I've got plenty of battle wounds from that one of the products then splitting up into individual SKUs once they come through, but some funny solutions to that as well. But I think you sum it up there. Like sometimes you've got to move your process to go with it, don't you? Like the technology. The technology allows you to create a great customer experience, and as much as I'm respectful of the back of house operations, you've got to also you've got to be prepared to adapt that a little bit so that you can create that good experience. And and make it, get scalable. Otherwise, you could end up not doing anything, couldn't you? So, it's a really
Exactly.
good point there. The next thing I wanted to touch on is a little bit more. I guess we've talked about moving from getting people to using bundles and working out how to get into the space through to how you scale it. I think probably the exciting thing now, and I'd love to hear where you're at with this. I'm sure you've given it plenty of thought. Is around like what's next. So like that UX of building a bundle has sort of, as much as it changes a lot, it's essentially going to a web page and having some kind of interface where you're selecting multiple products or they've been combined for you and you've got a few options. But I feel like agentic commerce just is going to totally flip that on its head. But the front end part of it, I can see the chatbot telling you what you should put in your bundle. But the building the under the hood piece for that is going to be an exciting challenge for whoever decides to
Yeah.
build it, if you do or someone else does. I'd love to hear.
Yeah.
Have you spent much time digging into that yet, or have you got a vision for how that could play out?
Yeah. I think when I am personally building in this e-commerce space for so long, I'm in a bubble of e-commerce. And for me, e-commerce becomes like the storefront experience and the online store, the website, the mobile app, those kind of things. And it's always merchant first. Like merchant is able to control their storefront experience. Merchants control how a customer journey would look like on their store. And that is fundamentally going to change now with AI commerce coming into the picture. So what we need to do, I feel, is take a little step back and understand like what POV are we solving for now. So when we were building for merchants, we were solving the POV of a customer solving for the customer from a merchant's POV, how I can increase my conversions, how I can increase my AOV. But now when we're building for agentic commerce with like a millions of stores catalog, we need to be thinking from a customer's POV. So of course, like the UI, UX, that is something that we might not be able to control. The mix and match and the complex bundle selections might go away when it comes to bundles from the same store. But what becomes super important in this case is the knowledge of bundling products across all the stores. So what goes into a specific bundle, that becomes important now. Like if I am buying a moisturizer, what moisturizers can I buy? What goes well with the moisturizer? Like a toner, serum, from which store does it come? Now, the knowledge of linking products together, that becomes like the bundling experience. And that's where stores needs to show up now. Like my product needs to show up as a complementary product to a moisturizer. My product needs to show up as a complementary product to some other product. So instead of having like a complex UI or a UX driven conversions, now it becomes complete game of knowledge. Like how do you make it known to the AI that my product goes in part of the bundle? And it's going to be across stores now. So you can't sell complex bundling from one store now. You can still have like single SKUs, like a fixed bundle concept, but like a selection when a customer has like infinite choices. Now that's where the knowledge becomes the part. So bundling for AI is not UX, it's actually knowledge. And bundling for online fronts is actually UI and UX driven. So that's how I think it's fundamentally going to change. And we need to just bombard AI with more and more knowledge about what product goes well with each other.
Guide them through that, and like what you touch on, tying in inventory data, or even things like profit margin and availability in single locations. If there's ways come to get all that data into the agents, like it's amazing the type of shopping experiences it can create. And potentially too, like I think the ability to turn it from being like such a sort of, it's a discount driven model a lot of the time. Bundles, it's about convenience and generally you've got to throw some sort of discount in, but the ability to almost provide like a premium service offering and making it easy for people, it's going to change a lot, isn't it? And it's exciting to see that.
Yeah, and just like it's like a complete mindset shift change on how you're building it, because you're just always thinking merchant, and now you have to think shopper. So just a complete mindset change.
Yeah, and how far off do you think it is? Like these things we're talking about, like is it stuff that people are going to be doing for Black Friday this year? Is it stuff that's still some of it's pipe dream? Like how fast do you see stuff like this coming through?
Yeah, I think it's like impossible to predict how fast it's going to be, but it's going to be sooner than later. Because this was just 2 years ago when people talking to ChatGPT and Claude just had like a significant advantage as compared to people who were not. And now within 2 years,
Yeah.
that has become a norm. And now if you're not using agents, if you're not basically using AI as your personal assistant, then you're at a disadvantage. So it's like moving really fast, the AI world. And I think it's going to be sooner than later. If you think about like Black Friday, I think AI is going to be a significant part of your sales channel. But what I personally think it's not going to be for a lot of stores. I think it's still going to be like top 10 or top 15% of the stores that's going to generate a lot of sales from the AI agents. And that is where the parity is. But down the line, I think it's going to be like ultra personalized, where even if the brand is new, you're able to get it. And that's for when the AI also evolves as just not just the catalogs, right? So you bombard more and more data, and AI also learn your preferences, and then the mix and match becomes easier between the customer and the products. But right now, I feel this year it's going to be like a small percentage of stores who will be able to leverage like AI really well. But down the line, it's going to be like more and more stores.
Look, because this conversation has just got so many ideas going in my head. I don't even know where to go from here. And I'd love to ask, like, also, like this is all very exciting, but it must also be a bit scary for you in that you've got a product that lives within the confines of a Shopify store. And yeah, as you say, and we all know, it is going to move beyond that, even if there's a lot of merchants still using it. Like, are you starting to evolve the product now? Like, how do you make it so that your product stays relevant when the experiences change?
So right now, to be very honest, we have like very clear goals that we have in mind, and basically pivoting into a way where it all works magically with AI is not one of those. But I think when we'll think about it, we'll think about, okay, what is the right approach? Because like I said, it's a mindset shift. You can't, maybe FoxSell is not the right solution when it comes to AI. Maybe we'll have to build something else around the same concept, similar concept, but from a shopper's perspective. So that is something that you can't decide on a whim. But we also don't want to shift our focus from actually supporting merchants the way they are used to right now. So we are right now focusing on building like the best bundling solution for bigger brands, for enterprise brands, for agencies. But when we do decide to enter a space where we are going to leverage a lot of the AI capabilities and AI and build on top of the agentic commerce, we do have to do a mindset shift. It can't be, okay, we know how to build like complex mix and match bundles. How do we bring that agentic commerce? We'll have to think it from like fundamentals and first principles on what are the problems actually being surfaced while people are shopping on agentic commerce, and what are the problems we need to solve. So that is where it's going to be. It can't be like on a whim that we know this, so let's just replicate it onto another platform. It needs to be something that is works on that platform, and that is a problem on that platform. So right now, I think we're still thinking about it.
Yeah, it's not as simple as just putting that little sparkly diamond icon next to your features and calling it AI, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that it's no doubt though will give like opportunity for people, like as we were saying at the start, like a fairly saturated space. Like it's also going to be, there's going to be a lot there who don't adapt to building new features that are that sort of conversational driven. So yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see the space evolve. I think it's far from being a stale part of the platform. We've seen like the fact that you can come in and make an impact in that space over the last couple of years, and there's plenty of other great apps as well out there doing bundles and upsells and all that sort of stuff. Getting towards the end of our conversation, is the question I like to ask everyone is around like the rest of the ecosystem, and particularly in your vertical. Like I'd love to hear about what some of the other apps that in your space and the other people doing great things and creative stuff with bundles and upsells and all that sort of stuff.
I think one of the best examples from the top of my mind is Erica's and Kaching. I think They are doing extremely well. It's like super hard to build a powerful product that is also very simple to set up, because it's very easy to become like a bloated product. But they have done it like really well, and they've grown really well in such a short amount of time. And being a bootstrapped app like us, it's like very inspiring for all of us and just raises the bar for everyone. So that, like, a huge shout out to Ericus and the whole coaching team. Like, they are doing like extremely well.
Yeah, cool. And no, that's it. That's great to see. Like that's it. Like you go to events like Shopify editions and you see people who are direct competitors always chatting to each other and learning from each other and encouraging each other along. And so it's always fantastic to hear that those relationships exist. And yeah, I think it makes everyone better in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like, especially in a bundle category, you can't just ignore your competitors, because then you won't be able to talk to anyone because literally everyone has a bundle app. So you can't just ignore, you just can't be like friends with them. And thankfully, like, our category, like, everyone is like so welcoming and so nice to talk to. So it's like a pleasure being in the bundle category. But like, if you just stop talking to the people in your category, stop talking to your competitors in bundle category, at least you won't be able to talk to anyone. Everyone you
Yeah, no,
meet
fair point.
now has a bundle app. So it's like,
Yeah,
it's better to just welcome. And the pie is like so huge. It's okay having
yeah,
like 263 apps in the category, like you
yeah.
mentioned, and still being able to make or generate a lot of revenue, even for your brands, even for yourself. So no need to be sour about it.
Yeah, no, that's it. No, well said. And yeah, my last question is like that you've managed to build with the platform as it's become really powerful for doing the type of stuff you build, but there must still be some things that frustrate you as well. What's the what if you're on a direct line with Shopify, what are the things you're asking for that you'd love to see in the next in the next sort of 6 to 12 months?
Okay, I think this is like a very known where bundles and subscriptions does
Yeah.
not go well
I
together.
was
So
waiting
I
for that. I
don't.
was expecting that answer. Yeah, I was almost gonna.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah.
But I think that's like too obvious. Like, everybody would know this. So I would touch upon like some things that people might not know, that people face issues with, because bundle with subscription is like such a big thing that everyone's talking about. Everybody is waiting for it. Even Shopify knows that it's like a big feature, so I don't have to be in direct line with them. They already know this. But apart from that, like, there are some very basic features that would increase or would be a huge quality of life improvement in the bundle space. Where we have seen is bundle reporting with native reporting for bundles on Shopify is not good. It's not good at all. Like, Sidekick is not able to generate bundle reports. I, as a brand, can't tell how many bundles am I selling. I can't tell as a brand what variants or what combination of bundles people are buying. And that's like such a basic thing I should be able to tell. And that is like one of the reasons a lot of brands use the same feature as the free Shopify bundling app, but on FoxSell, because that reporting do exist on FoxSell. So that data is available in Shopify and GraphQL queries to be queried, but just not surfaced on the reports. And the second thing, also very basic, which is just showcasing the components of a bundle on the storefront. That is something that is not available right now for like Shopify bundle app. And that is also some of the brands uses just for that particular feature, because they want to show what parts of bundles are included in the app. They don't want to show it as a description. They want to show it as like a
Yeah.
blog or like a widget there. So it's like very basic quality of life improvements, but the reporting is like a big pain, which prevents a lot of brands from using bundles. Because if I am not able to tell how many bundles am I selling, then it's like a huge loss for me, right? So that is one thing that we
Yeah,
need to
no,
solve for.
absolutely, yeah. Oh, it's so important, isn't it? Like when, especially like as we were talking about experimenting and about just getting up and running, and like people need to build business cases to to show why they should be investing more in certain features or packages or whatever. And so, no, I don't think it should be downplayed at all. It's really important. So, yeah, and the subscriptions one, I think could have been, we could have probably spent 20 minutes complaining about that, but
Yeah,
I'm sure it'll
exactly.
come eventually. And when it does, it'll, make everyone better for it. So there's a lot of apps we could have talked to today, but you were the first one that came to mind. You're always so generous with your time and sharing your ideas. And so I thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure, hopefully a few extra people will, go and test out, you build a box or mix and match or whatever they want to do and build some great experiences with FoxSell. But Prakhar, thank you so much. And thanks everyone for tuning in.